Welcome back, everybody, to our Fresh Food channel. We would like to start another series in Python. This time around, we want to talk about data structures in Python. Now, why data structures? We already know about kinds of data in Python. We know about the strings, the integer, and the floats. But we find that those are not enough because we need to be able to handle data in different ways, which is why Python has provided us with data structures. Now, there are different kind of data structures in Python. For this series, we'll be focusing on lists, tuples, and dictionaries. Those are the things we'll be focusing on. Today we'll just be talking about lists. We want to introduce ourselves to lists today. So let's follow on with the series and see the importance of a data structure like lists. So that is what we shall be doing today. Now, I suppose somebody is asking, what is a list? Now, a list in Python is an iterable object. A list in Python is an iterable object, meaning that you can run through it. You can loop through it, you can run through it to find the values, the items in there. Let's apply it to a simple scenario. Say you have a shop, let's call it a shop, and you need items to make a sandwich. I suppose in that shop we could have a string of a list of items in the shop, pardon me. So we have eggs, we have bread, we have jam, we have tomatoes, and we also have um, um, and we also have butter. Yeah, we need butter as well. We also have butter in our list. So if you go to shop A and you want to find out if the shop, all the items in the shop, if you want to find out whatever they have, you just print to the screen, you print shop A, and it brings out everything to you. Brings us everything to you. So let's run this and we'll see. Okay, list lesson. Save our file, list lesson.py. So there you have it. So in shop A, we have eggs, we have bread, we have jam, we have tomatoes, we have butter. Now, what if we wanted to find out if shop A has jam? What if we only wanted to find out if shop A has jam? I don't believe we'll be able to do that with this single string right here. With this single string right here. It is possible, but it will take our time, to waste our time when we can do it better. Now, to do that better, you need to create a list. Now, you understand, or you would agree with me, that when you create a list, each item would have an index, and each item will be created as a single entity. This is what I mean. Let's create a list, or a shop called shop B, and in there we would have exactly the same items in shop A, but this time around we'll be creating them as a list. How do you create a list in Python? You simply do that by doing this, the calling the square brackets. When you call the square brackets, in there you then put your items singly in whichever data type that they are. For the items in the shop, you agree with me that we'll be storing them as strings. So each item will be stored as a single string of text in the list. So let's start. So I have eggs in here, single string, and to get the next item, I put in a comma, then I write in the next item, enclosing them as a string as well. So we have bread, we have jam, we have tomatoes as a string itself, and lastly we should have our butter. Lastly, we should have our butter in there. So this way we have a complete list of items that would expect if you want to buy a sandwich. So how do you then get a specific items you can, you need? Say perhaps you have all the other items, but you need to find out if you have jam in the in the shop. Now Python helps you, helps you achieve that task, because list can be looped through. You can loop through a list, loop through the items in a list to find out whatever you want. So let's see how to do that. All we simply need to do is to declare a for loop for I in the range of items, in the range of the length of shop B. Yes, so we have the entire length of the shop. So we'll loop through that one after the other. So we set a condition: if shop B I, that's the index for I, equals jam, then we can print to the screen. We can print to the screen. We tell ourselves to print to the screen, print item is available. Item is available. So there we have it. So with this simple code, we can check if any item is available in the list of items in the shop. More clearly, let me just add the specific item that we asked for. So we'll print shop BI, pardon me, shop BI is available. That is what we shall print to the screen. The specific item that we searched for, shop BI is available. So let's run this code and see what comes to the screen. Let's run it and see what comes to the screen. So there we have it. Jam is available. Jam is available. Now you can actually go further to edit this code, perhaps to keep a count of the number of jam they have available in the shop. Say I had an extra item here. I call it jam as well. I had an extra item there. Let me call it jam as well. So let's see the number of jam that we have in the shop. So for instance, we take a count. Let's take a count of the items, and our count starts at 0. Count starts at 0. So instead of printing this right here, whenever we find jam, we want to increment the count by 1. Whenever we find jam in the loop, when the loop runs, and whenever we find jam, we want to increment count by 1. So count, this is how to increment. We already learned about that. Count post equals 1. So that's what we want to do. So we go if count greater than 0. If our count is greater than 0 at all, if we have more than one item, we would like to print to the screen count, then we say number of items found. Number of items found. Else, a condition, else we print to the screen item not available. So there we have it. So let's run this now, and we would find out the number of items that we have. So we're searching for jam, remember. Let's find out the number of jam that the shop has. So it would inform us how many items we would like to buy. So let me run this. So I would like you to tell me now, or tell yourself the number of items you would expect on the screen. The number of items you would expect on the screen. So let me run this, and there we have it. So it says when we search for jam, it says number of items found. Number of items found. So that means the shop has jam. We've looked through the items in the shop, and then we found jam. So this is simply the importance of a list. Now, if you'd like to learn more about lists, please follow on with the series. We will be looking at how lists work. We're talking about indexing. We're talking about changing value in lists. We'll be talking about adding items to lists, and so on and so forth. So if you have any comments, concerns, please drop them below. Otherwise, check the next video. Thank you.